Yo, 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 what's going on, folks, man? It's your boy Moneymatt coming back to you again from the said podcast, episode number 5. And today, man, we're gonna get into a few topics, bruh, in relation to sneakers, definitely culture, and what's seemingly hot right now are comedians. Yes, comedians have been the topic du jour since Cat Williams did his interview, and we're gonna get a little into some of our funniest comedians that we still consider underrated. I'm your boy Money Matt, man. Let's get into it. Now, first topic we're gonna talk about today is the graceful bow. I must say, it's a graceful bow. Well played games in the divisional round of playoffs last weekend. And for whatever it was, man, every last one of those games came down. Okay, every game but the Baltimore game came down to the last possession. What a weekend for NFL divisional playoff football. And I must say, the freaking Lions have won 2 playoff games, and now they are heading to the NFC Championship game. Yes. If you've been sleeping under a rock, the Detroit freaking Lions have won 2 playoff games and are now 2 games away from being Super Bowl champions. Bruh, hell has officially froze over. The freaking Lions, bruh, I must take off my hat to the Detroit Lions. They have done things that, okay, at the beginning of the season, we knew that the Lions were going to be pretty good. And the fact that Aaron Rodgers went ahead and departed the NFC North, it was game over. It was wide open in the NFC North because, let's be honest, nobody thought the Packers were going to end up where they did in the playoffs. Not at all. And me, I'm a diehard Packers fan, and I didn't really expect that. Honestly, I didn't. So we all knew the Detroit Lions were going to take a step forward, but we had no idea that they were going to take this step forward. So hats off to the Detroit Lions and their fans. Well deserved. Lions fans, enjoy, soak it up, because this win or go home now, baby. Now to the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, they did their things to advance against the Texans, and Lamar continues to just wow us on this MVP season. And I say that because it's a no-brainer that he's going to be the MVP this year. He finally got over that hump. Finally gets a playoff win. Now he's 1-3 in the playoffs, and for all intents and purposes, everybody's expecting them to represent the AFC for the Super Bowl. But we got to play the games. We do have to play the games, and that's just the way it is, man. So Texans fans, you got a bright future ahead of y'all, man. With CJ at the helm and D'Amico coaching the team, man. You guys have a really, really, really bright future coming up ahead. So hats off to the Texans. Good season, man. Nobody expected you guys to be there with a rookie quarterback. So hats off to Texans and their fans. Well deserved, good season. And I know y'all looking forward to season 2 of the CJ Stroud Show. Now I must acknowledge all the Niner fans begrudgingly, because that was a hell of a game against the Green Bay Packers. That was a hell of a game. Boy, it was an emotional roller coaster. Back and forth. Yes, Deebo Samuels got hurt. Would the game had been different if Deebo was in the game? We don't know. We'll never know. He got injured, and that's that. But man, I was a nervous wreck during this game, man. And in the end, a missed field goal and CMC was way too much for our young Packers to overcome. Jordan Love, inexperience, kind of got the best of him. He was trying to do a little bit too much and be the superhero. But in the end, man, this is our first run with Jordan Love at the helm, and I seriously am so excited about seasons to come because we are the youngest team in the NFL, and nobody expected us to be there. Nobody expected us to be there, including myself. So yeah, we was playing with house money, man, but we almost took the bank, man. So hats off to 49ers fans. Yeah, I didn't really have to eat much crow this year from my Niner fan family members. So, it's all good. All they can say, it was a hell of a game. And I must say that was probably the best game of the playoffs so far. Came down to the last possession. And yeah. So last but not least, oh boy, y'all tired of seeing Tay-Tay? Y'all know who Tay-Tay is. Stop playing, bro. We talking about Taylor Swift. So sad to say, get over it if you tired of seeing Taylor Swift, because the Chiefs are in this thing for one more week because Patty Mahomes does what he does best in the playoffs. So they move on to the AFC Championship. Man, Josh Allen is a big player, man. He's the biggest player probably in Buffalo Bills history, man. But he just can't get over that hump, man. If it ain't Pat Mahomes, it's the Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow. And, man, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Josh Allen put that team on his back. But in the end, man, you live by the gun, you die by the gun. And that costly interception at the end of the game cost them a chance to do something great. And, of course, they're going to try to put it on a kicker and say it was his fault that they lost the game. No, it was not. If he would have hit Diggs on that slant route in the middle of the field, they probably would have lived to fight another day. But instead, the legend of Patty Mahomes lives on. So congratulations to the Chiefs, man. You guys, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one, man. It is definitely going to be a good one. You got two of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the last 4 years playing against each other in the AFC Championship game. It's going to be electric. So we looking forward to that game, Baltimore and the Chiefs. Now, on to some sneaker news. Man, we had some crazy leaks last week, man. We had some crazy leaks. The Moneymatt Jordan 4 Phantom sounds intriguing, right? Well, it ain't really been released yet. Based on the information provided, here's what we can speculate, though. The colorway is called Phantom, right? And it suggests a predominantly white or light gray color scheme, but from what we've seen, it don't really look like that. It looks like a softer palette of all the colors that Moneymatt normally goes with. What we can expect is premium materials, obviously, because it's Moneymatt, aligned with the top-notch quality that always associates with Moneymatt collaborations with Jordan. And we'll get some subtle variations in textures and finishes that could elevate that monochromatic look. Everybody is calling them the pale Ghost Riders or the Sammy Sosas, but they were super pale. Like, they were super pale. To this day, there hasn't been a release date yet, but rumors do suggest that them joints gonna be dropping fall 2024, along with another Jordan 3 from Moneymatt, possibly in a contrasting colorway. So they have done that before. They did this with the Jordan 5 in 2023 with the Dusk and the Dawn pair. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But that wasn't the only thing that Moneymatt kind of leaked. Mr. Whitner had on a pair of those joints. But there was also an Air Max 95 that was leaked last week. Now, the first glimpses of this sneaker debuted at the Paris Fashion Week. It was generating all kind of buzz among sneakerheads. So it's rumored to release in the winter of 2024, with obviously availability on Moneymatt and Nike.com. But we all know some other boutiques may get some, but probably not. The retail price obviously has not been disclosed either, but you can expect the same palette using predominantly shades of dusty pink and purples on this Air Max 95 with the Moneymatt branding, and it did have an Moneymatt signature up by the toe box area. So I think that was a nice subtle touch, man, and it provided some pop for the shoe. So obviously the hype and the expectation for this shoe is probably going to be crazy because it's an Air Max 95, and from what the images that we seen, it kind of reminds of a Sean Wotherspoon type 95. So stay tuned for that, man, and we're gonna see what them joints look like, whether we gonna cop them or whether we gonna let them ride. I think we probably gonna go for them though, just because not a lot of Air Max 95s in the collection, and trying to stay away from the Jordan brand releases in 2024 is gonna be hard, but we still trying to diversify, man. So that's it for sneaker news, man. Stay tuned to YouTube because we got the video review of the 2024 Nike Dunk Low Valentines that we're gonna bring to the channel. So if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please get on over there and subscribe to YouTube channel, the Set Vids at youtube.com. So with that being said, bruh, all right, these comedians these days are the topic of everybody's doing interviews with comedians now, and I wish I could get me a comedian to come on the Set Vids podcast, but I digress. I tend to do that every episode, but it is what it is. So these comedians have been the topic of the day ever since Cat Williams has did his interview. Like, I see interviews of all kinds of comedians popping up, and that's a good thing, right? So it puts comedy in a good space right now, despite the negativity or the calling to the carpet that was had during the Cat Williams interview. Now, what we're gonna talk about is who are the funniest comedians that you have ever seen that are still considered underrated. Now, I'm gonna give you 4 of mine, and I'm gonna explain why. Number one, okay, let me not say number one because I'm not ranking these. These are just 4 comedians that I have seen live and have watched their specials, if they have a special, and they absolutely had me rolling to the point where I left with a stomach ache after I seen the show. Roy Woods Jr. he used to be on The Daily Show. He's from my home state of Alabama, and man, Roy Woods Jr. is by far one of the funniest comedians that I have ever seen or heard, because his delivery is so like on point that he doesn't, from what I've seen, his joke doesn't need time to build. Like, he's in and out with precision with his jokes, albeit they be political or things from like his story, from where he grew up in Alabama, how he grew up. I can relate to some of the things that he say. His political jokes are freaking amazing. Like, they're not classless and they're just funny. So Roy Woods Jr. is one of those comedians that I just definitely want to see, like, not necessarily like go mainstream, because he was on The Daily Show, and that's a national show. Everybody sees The Daily Show. Now, should he have gotten the lead spot on The Daily Show? You damn right he should have got that. But we ain't here to debate that. We talking about him being considered underrated. And in my opinion, I do think he is underrated. Now, the next comedian is Gary freaking Owen. Now, everybody knows Gary Owen. He's been in a few movies. He's been doing stand-up for like 20 some years. We all know his story. If you haven't, check it out. Grew up in the trailer park, went to the Navy, was a Navy security officer in San Diego, decided to try the comedy thing while he was still in the Navy and made it big. Hell, when he was on Comic View, he was still in the Navy. Now, that's just a small part of his story, but they call Gary Owen the black comic because he's a white guy, but his fan base is predominantly black. Reason being, Gary Owen sounds like one of us, but not really. He sounds like a country dude, but he sounds like a black dude at the same time. And that's not typecasting, that's not stereotypical, but that's just what it is. If you've heard Gary Owen before, or you've seen Gary Owen, then you know that that's what it is. Gary Owen, to me, is one of the most underrated comedians because his skill set is crazy. He has the ability to read the room and know exactly, with precision, how to make you laugh. And it's not a haha laugh. It's a hurt your side laugh. And for me, I guess it's because, again, I could relate to his jokes. But if you put Gary Owen in a room with full of white people, right, Gary Owen can still make that room move. And that's why he is on my list of one of the most underrated comedians. My next most underrated comedian that I have ever seen, because I've seen him live as well as Gary Owen, is Corey Holcomb. Bruh, Corey Holcomb is by far the most funniest, and I say that not lightly at all. If I had to rank comedians on how hard they actually made me laugh and continue to make me laugh, Corey Holcomb would be at the top of that list. So it'll probably be Dave Chappelle, and then Corey Holcomb. And I know a lot of people are not gonna agree with that, but in comedy, I mean, I'll say I didn't necessarily grow up listening or watching like Richard Pryor. Now, when I was of age and I was able to watch Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy's Raw, like Delirious, all of those, right? That is the golden age of comedy, right? It was rough, it was political, it was raw, like it was in your face. Pause. Corey Holcomb is of that ilk. Like, Corey Holcomb is the most raunchiest, but he tell it straight every time he's on the stage. And every time that I've seen Corey Holcomb, man, I just need to sit in the theater or the improv or wherever it is that I'm watching him, man. I just have to sit there for a few minutes because I'm literally in tears, sweating, laughing so hard just because his comedic genius is crazy. And his ability to say what he wants to say, how he wants to say it, is genius because he does not care about being canceled. He doesn't care about going mainstream. Corey is just a pure comedian, and that's why he is on my list of funniest comedians that we would consider underrated. Now, next on this list is a comedian that I was privy to maybe a year ago, and I went to the Improv, and the headliner was D.L. Hughley, right? But his opening act was this comedian who I have never heard of, But let me tell you something. When I tell you that room was on the floor the entire time this guy was on the stage, that is not an understatement. And for the life of me, as well as he does not understand how he could turn the room upside down laughing, but for whatever reason, he has still not made that mainstream, I guess, comedic role or rise, right? And I'm talking about Bodacious. Man, when I tell you Bodacious had the room upside down laughing, crying, like, and I'll be honest with you, DL came on because Bo was his opening act, right? I'm gonna tell you this right now. Bo was the funniest comedian in that room that night. And that's not a slight to DL Hughley, because he is a legend. But it's hard, man, when you come out and be as funny as Bo was. That night, couldn't nobody top that. Nobody could top that. And that is not a slight to DL again. But Bo had that stage that night. Bo probably could have went another 45 minutes. And everybody in that audience probably would have been content. So that's the reason why. And I started following Bo on social media, man. And I'm looking forward to him coming to the Orlando area again so I can go check him out, because that was the funniest I had laughed in a long time. And it wasn't just me. Everybody in that Orlando Improv, or which they call the Funny Bone now, was in tears. So Bodacious is the last comedian that I would just put in that category as the funniest that I have ever seen, but has not made that rise to being a mainstream comedian. So, man, that is all I have for that comedic rant. So we're gonna leave that at that, man. But yeah, if you haven't had a chance to check out any of those comedians, man, Roy Woods Jr., Gary Owen, Corey Holcomb, or Bodacious, man, check them out, because you will not be disappointed. I must remind you again, Corey Holcomb is not for the weak. And if you one of them people that like to get in their feelings about stuff, you probably don't want to listen to Corey Holcomb. But I'm going to tell you this. If you are not like that, you will have an absolute great time, along with the rest of them. So, yeah, man, check them out. And now for one of the most bizarre things that, I wouldn't say bizarre, but a yogurt company is offering to pay $10,000 to the participants who can complete a month-long digital detox. That means with no smartphone, their phone will be locked in a box. And the only thing they will have is an old school flip phone with no web access, none of that. So you can still make phone calls. You can try to send a text message, but they're paying $10,000 to the participants that entered into the contest, and they selected to do a 1 month long digital detox. Now, a lot of us who don't really be on your phones like that think, okay, yeah, I can do that. But on average, we spend about 5.4 hours on our phone every day. Now, to put that into context, most of us work 8-hour jobs. So 8 and 5, that's 13. You sleep for 8. Supposedly sleep for 8 hours. You do the math. When do you have time to do anything else? So, I find myself saying this a lot, that, it just feels like I don't have time to do anything anymore like I used to. And that's possibly because we don't realize how much time we actually spend on our phones every day. It's crazy that the average is 5.4 hours, right? But I'm going to take a look at my iPhone right now. Let's see, digital well-being. This is crazy. Okay, so the average usage on my phone for social media apps is 3 hours and 2 minutes. That's my average. Now, I don't necessarily surf on Instagram. I don't surf reels. When I do, I catch myself, and I like 20 minutes in, I'm like, all right, bro, you wasting time. But it's just crazy the amount of time that we actually spend on our devices. So my question to you is, could you survive 30 days without your smartphone, without your iPhone, your Samsung Galaxy, without your smartwatch, without any of that? Could you survive for 30 days and not saying you're going to stay in the house, not going to do any of that? You have to carry on business as usual throughout your day. Can you survive 30 days without a smartphone or a smartwatch for 10 grand? I can answer that question real easy. Heck yes. And I'm being PC. So I'm going to say it again. Can I survive a month without my smartphone for 10 grand? Hell yeah, I can do that. I can do that easy. I just find something else to do. Social media don't move me like that. So I'm not one that's going to be like, oh, I'm missing out on something. Now I can watch the news for whatever information that's important that I need to know. Do I need to see people pictures and videos all day long? Nope. But if it's in my hand, then I ain't got in my mind, I don't have anything else to do but that. Of course I'm going to open it up. Of course I'm going to look at some of the foolery that be going on the internet. But if you're going to pay me 10 grand to like detoxify my brain from social media, I'm taking that bit any day. So that's the wacky news for today. That they paying $10,000 to these people that they select to try to meet this challenge. Oh, and not to mention, they'll give you the flip phone, 30-day prepaid card or whatever for whatever service that you want, and a 3-year supply of their yogurt. Yep, it's a promotion thing, definitely. But I mean, I don't really see why you're gonna give them 3 years of yogurt. I don't really care about yogurt that much. Maybe you do. I don't. They can keep the yogurt. Just give me that 10 grand at the end of the month. Well, folks, we have reached the end of this fantastic journey. This week we touched on the NFL. We touched on a lot of different topics, including comedians, which seems to be the hot topic these days. Bruh, my year is coming. My year is coming. And that's for my sneakerheads. It's your boy Moneymatt, man. If you stuck around with me this long, thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of the Set Vid podcast. Thanks for coming along on this journey. I am your host, Moneymatt, and I am gone. Stay crispy.